how to become a better Wattpad writer. You can't just write a story and just let it be because, hey, I want to write a story about that. Or I slipped and fell. Your story is not going to come together. Kind of spice it up with different cities, states, countries, or even just places in general. One of the main things I love included in my story is flashbacks.
Shake something, left, right, control it. You know who the part of your horny, right on it, Ringlight me.
So welcome back to my channel. If this is you guys' very first time here, I'm Cam. Make sure you subscribe so you can become part of the official family, because if you're not an official, then what the heck are you? So as you guys can tell by the title and the thumbnail of this video, I will be giving you guys some tips on how to become a better Wattpad writer. And it's not even just a Wattpad writer. This is just how to become a better writer in general. It's very rare for me to read Wattpad stories now because, you know, some of them are not organized. And so I was like,
why not just sit and do a video on how to, help you guys? If you're a writer,
if you want to write stories, if you want to write books, because if you guys don't know, I do write stories on Wattpad, and I just write stories just because, like, I just love writing, always have. So I'm going to be giving you guys a couple of tips on how to help y'all. So I have my notes right here. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified every time I drop a new lit banger. If this is your very first time here as well, if you guys haven't watched my last vlog, which was when my friend was here, we made vision boards, and one of my goals for this year is to reach 100 subscribers before the year is out. I'm already at like 65. Make sure you guys subscribe so I can reach my goal. And let's go ahead and get into this video. Tip number 1 is coming up with your main idea. So your main idea is going to consist of your characters, your settings, meeting points, and what the story will be based around. So when I mean like coming up with your main idea, for me sometimes this comes so easy. Like I'll just be walking around doing daily things and I just like, I want to write a story about this, or I want to write a story about this person. But you can't just write a story and just let it be because, hey, I want to write a story about that. You have to make your main idea. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the time to organize your characters. Sometimes as I'm writing my book, like the more I'm writing it, more characters come into play, so that's good as well. But you want to take the time to sit down, get your main characters first of all. That's key one. Get your main characters, get your settings, meeting points. What I mean by meeting points is where your main character or where your antagonist and protagonist is going to meet. Your main character is a female, and you want another character of her to be dating or anything like that is a male. Or if you want her to meet up with, become friends with a random, what is their meeting point? They can't just be like, oh, hi, we randomly meet. What are their meeting points? So your main idea is, okay, how they're going to meet up. Are they going to meet up at a restaurant? Are they going to meet up? How is this going to work? If you guys don't read my stories, I'll put my Wattpad link down below because I don't be sharing my Wattpad link on YouTube. But I'm going to put it in the link below for this video. When the main female meets the main male, I love a little drama and a little suspense to it. So I take the time to understand the situation, see how can I make the meeting up juicy. Some people like the romantic meetups, like, oh, I was at Starbucks and he was standing behind me and we just started talking, or I slipped and fell. You can go with that, but for me personally, I like it to be tea. Like in my last story, well, not my last story, but one of the stories I'm also working on at the moment that's in progress is called Serenading My Heart. And they met up because they had a little scuffle and the guy somehow found her friend, got the information from her friend. So it's different ways the characters can meet up. It's not always have to be at a store or at a coffee shop, at work. It can be different spots. Make it juicy, make it interesting. You can even take time to research different settings. If you're not sitting down to take time to research, your story is not gonna come together. I feel like, but settings and areas and places is one of the most important things, and that is because it's just like if your characters are going to the same places 24/7, it's gonna kind of get boring. You know what I'm saying? So kind of spice it up with different cities, states, countries, or even just places in general. Tip number 2 is coming up with your conflict and your antagonist. So this is when you would choose a character who would be the bad guy in the book and decide what will their disliking to the main character or characters be. When you're writing your profiles on your characters, and that's something I like to do as well. Like, okay, this is going to be the main character. Her name is going to be Jasmine. She's going to be this old. This is her race. This is where she's from. This is what she likes to do. You write your characters. I like to take the time to also write the character of my antagonist, the bad guy. If you have an antagonist, because not all stories have antagonists, but I think stories come together so much better when there are antagonists because there's conflict, there's rising action, and so on. So when you're taking the time to write the profile on your antagonist, why do they not like your main character? And I feel like some stories kind of leave that out because you dive into the story, you start reading it, and then you got this random person who just hates your character, and you're like, why do they hate this person? Why do they not like them? So, and sometimes for me, with my book, I like to come in with the conflict. There's already a character. Once you start reading, there's always a character that hates the main character, and it's gonna leave the reader wondering, like, why do they hate them? And as the reader continues to read, I start dropping little, like, ever since this happened, or I start dropping little flashbacks. One of the main things I love included in my story is flashbacks, because things happen and people are wondering, like, why did this happen, or why did this person say this, or what do they mean by this? Like, leaving it on the edge, leaving the story on the edge, and it's like, why? And as you read my flashbacks, just everybody loves my flashbacks. So I feel like flashbacks is going to be something that I use a lot in my stories, and I do use it a lot because it just makes it more interesting. Like, if you give all the information of everybody in the beginning, people already know what to expect. What would the antagonist going to do, with their thoughts, process, that's all important. Tip number 3 is research. Now, a lot of people don't like doing this, but I enjoy doing this. This is why when I come up with book ideas, I don't get straight to just writing, because there's a lot of steps to that. You never get straight, like, when you have ideas of, I want to write this, or sometimes ideas come from inspiration of other books you've read, Never get straight into writing a book. Take the time, because you don't, like I said before, you don't want your book all out of place and unorganized. So during the research phase, you should take the time to research about certain cities that you're gonna, like, let's say you're gonna be using California or North Carolina in your book. How are you gonna use these states or cities without getting to know them, without doing research, or especially different time frames? Like, sometimes, most of my books so far take place in the 90s, so guess what I have to do? I have to sit down, take the time to research about the 90s, or let's say if I'm using, like, one of the books I'm writing at the time right now is using North Carolina in the 90s. So you know how many hours it took for me to sit down and research about North Carolina, how North Carolina looked in the 90s, the most dangerous neighborhoods in North Carolina in the 90s, the more safest. It's different things you have to take the time to do. If you're going to be using countries, let's say your character is a rich person or a celebrity and they're going to different countries, take the time to research about those countries. Don't just write, like, oh, we went to this Airbnb, it had a pool. No, try using different places, and then that's also what makes your book more interesting. When your readers find out that, hey, you know a lot about this country, it makes it more interesting for me, because then it made me want to research about, oh, what they're talking about. So if you're more like, let's say you use Bali, the characters that flew to Bali, make it more interesting. Name Bali restaurants, name different Bali areas, different Bali activities, if that makes sense. Researching names. Sometimes most of my names come from the top of my head, but when I see myself starting to reuse the same names, that's when I decide, like, oh, I need to sit down, take time to research different names for the main character, the antagonist, the protagonist, the husband or the boyfriend or the friends. Please, because sometimes I read my books, I'm like, okay, I use this name, and then I'm like, in another book, I'm using the same names. I'm like, no, I need to stop that. Try using different names, y'all. Research different circumstances and situations. You can't say that, okay, my character grew up in the Bronx. Or let's say, okay, my character grew up without a lot of money. They grew up in the Bronx, whatever. But make it feel more real. Make it feel more realistic. And I feel like that's another way, because people tell me, oh my God, your books are so good. I feel like that's also another way my books are so good, because I put myself in these situations. Or if this was to happen, I would do this. This is how I would act. This I would recommend. This is what I would do. I just love incorporating like the bus, the subways, trains, etc. I just feel like just do your research on different circumstances and different living arrangements. You want to research traits for your character. This is so important, because if your character, as readers, we're getting to know your character. If we don't know, or if your character doesn't have traits, it just doesn't feel real. Like, I like my books to feel real, so I'm going to use real situations, real vernacular, which is real words, phrases, etc. Just like traits, your characters have to have traits. We have traits, whether it's slick at the mouth, whether it's them being quick on their feet, they're being smart, not even being smart as an attitude, but they're a smart person, they care about their books. Worry about their traits, y'all. That makes the person real. How can you be real without no traits? But sometimes y'all just throw a book together and y'all try to make this man seem so perfect, and it's like, it's cringe. It's like, why is it cringe? It's like, you're trying to make this man who real man and not. You're trying to make this man so perfect. He does no wrong, baby girl, darling. Don't make me mad. Don't make me mad. So please work on those. You also, I do a lot of fanfics. I do. So if you're doing a fan fiction book, please do research on the characters. I don't know how many times I read fan fiction books, and it's like they just, okay, this star or this celebrity is fine. I'm just gonna like put them in the book, and they do no research on the person. And it's like, okay, as it's a fiction book, of course you can write it how you want, do what you want. But with me, I write my fiction books, but I also like to incorporate things that actually happen with the star. Like right now, like the other book I'm writing at the moment, it's called the other book I'm writing at the moment is called Right My Wrongs. And in that book, it's a fan fiction about Devontae Swing and Jodeci. So what I do is I did a lot of research, which I've always done research on Jodeci anyway, so I really know most of everything. But I just doubled down. When writing a book, you just want to double down on information you may or may have, forgotten or anything. So I took the time to sit down, do more research on Devontae Swing, how he grew up, do more research on Jodeci, and all. How they grew up, how they were raised, and I incorporated in that book. And it makes it feel more real, because you're like, you can go look up these situations and they actually happened. Although they may not have happened the way I displayed it. Let's just say, a true story. Devontae Swing ran away at 16, went to Minneapolis. Is that how you say it? Minneapolis? To go be in Prince's band. That's a true story. I incorporate that in my story, but I'm going to add my own reasons. Okay, this is why he ran away in my story. Although in real life, he probably ran away for a different reason. You know what I'm saying? Improvise. Please improvise, y'all. Use what you're given to make what you want. Tip number 4 is organization. Take time to organize what will happen and when it will happen in your story, or else your story will be scattered and difficult to read. So this organization is basically your rough draft. I don't know how many times I've written rough drafts out, and sometimes when I'm writing the official book, the book comes out so different from the rough draft. And it's because Your rough draft is just the ideas, the characters, the situations that you want to incorporate in the book. Writing the book is actually writing it detail for detail. Why this happened, when it happened, what the characters did. So obviously sometimes your book itself is going to come out different from a rough draft. But a rough draft is very helpful though, because hold on, somebody texted me. But the rough draft is very helpful because the rough drafts are very helpful because it lets you know, like, sometimes when I try not to write rough drafts, and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I end up forgetting stuff. So I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta incorporate this in a later chapter, but I want it to be in this chapter, but I forgot. And rough drafts just basically pinpoints what you need to do. Like right now, all these notes I've written, mind you, these are notes from me. All these notes I've written is like the rough draft of this video. This is my rough draft of the, hey, these are the things you need. These are the topics you need to touch on. These are the things you need to mention. If you don't write a rough draft, it's kind of easy to get distracted from the subject, the topic, or anything like that. She went to the store at 9 a.m. She got a call at this time. Taking the time is going to help your book come together, because if not, it's gonna be so freaking scattered. Like 1 minute they say their character is outside, the next minute they say she lays down in the bed. How did the bed get outside? I thought we were outside. How did we get in the house now? Now we're descending the steps. How are we going down the steps if we were just outside? I'm back outside. Like, rough draft is very important. I don't know, y'all. Those are the notes I've written. So, I don't know. I'm just going to say, take the time to write about your story. Take the time to research. Take the time. In the hardest part, okay, I can do rough drafts. I can write my stories to the T. My chapter names come to me when I'm done writing them. So, I don't write my chapter names until I'm done writing the chapter. Because then I'm like, okay, this is what the chapter is about. This is what the title should be. I hate making book covers. I don't know why I hate making book covers though, because I love making thumbnails, I love editing, I love writing, but making book covers is just a different type of. And me, I make my own book covers. Some people are like, get Canva, get a book cover maker. I might try those once or twice. I think I did try Canva, I think, or a book cover maker once before for like 2 books I wrote for them book covers. I think. But besides that, because I be wanting my book covers to look one way, and then making book covers for me are the hardest part. They're harder than writing, and it's because I can't do it. I don't like making book covers. But hey, that is that, y'all. That's all I really have to say about that. I might do a part 2 because I feel like there's still some things that I'm missing that could really you guys can probably really benefit from. There's just so much that goes into writing your story. Emotions. Make sure you guys use, transitional words, emotions. Try to go into detail, because some people just are bland, and it's like, when you go into detail, it makes your reader be able to connect to your character or characters more. Once you go into detail of they felt this way or this happened this way, instead of just leaving it bland. So I feel like there's more I should tap on, but I feel like I'm not doing it. I feel like it's something I'm missing. Tip number 6? Tip number 5, don't rush it. Don't rush it. I see so many people who come up with book ideas and just want to rush chapters out, especially on Wattpad. Don't rush it. I've seen so many times I've rushed books out, and then when I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh my God, I could have incorporated this. I could have did this. I could have saved this for a later chapter. I could have did. Don't rush it. There are so many times that I didn't rush writing chapters, and when I would go back over them while I'm rewriting or rough drafting, and I'm like, wait, I can add this, I can add that. So it comes out better if it's not rushed, y'all. So never rush it. But yeah, like and comment down below if you guys think I should do a part 2, or comment more video ideas down below, because I'm at a loss for words, okay? So I hope you guys did enjoy this video though. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified every time I drop a new lit banger. And I will see you guys in the next video.